want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
And welcome everybody to the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyrun Silva, along with my co-host, the amazing...
It's your boy, Danny J. Quick in the building. Man, let's get into it, man. We got Marvin Wynn here. I know you're supposed to introduce the host, but sometimes, I just like to do my own thing, Kyrun.
I get you, but we do have some things we got to get to before we do that. So first thing we got to do is we got to get some news out there, some good, some bad. Mm-hmm. Let's start with the bad news here, and I'll bring it up here. So as you guys know, there was some news that came out this week that involves Danny and everything. And I got to say, I'm very surprised about what's happening, and I'm shocked at the results that came out of all this. But based off of our Twitter poll, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song beat the X-Men theme song, which I'm blown away at that. I mean, it wasn't even close at this point. It was 63% to 36%. So
I'm trying to tell you, man.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song. I mean, that's an iconic song. But come on, the X-Men theme song was...
The X-Men theme is just an instrumental, though. Like, it's not even a song. It's not even really a song. It's just an instrumental. It's a great instrumental, but...
And that's still a song, though.
I mean, technically...
Orchestras have been doing that for decades and centuries. Why can't a cartoon series be known for that?
It's just...
that's Star Wars songs don't have any lyrics in them.
There you go.
Absolutely true. But I wouldn't put them up against Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't want that.
All right. So this is what we're gonna do. Since the Ninja Turtles won, I'm gonna put out another poll, and hopefully this will get us some better results. And I'll give the results for our next podcast. And the poll is going to be: who is your favorite Ninja Turtle out of the four? And if you don't vote Leonardo, you can please stop listening to this podcast. I'm just
Leonardo's the most boring ninja. Stop it, Kyrun. Every week I find something. I thought we were cool. Like, I thought me and you were kindred spirits. And here I am finding out that we don't have anything in common. Ridiculous.
What are you, a Raphael fan?
Donatello.
Okay. Donatello's my second.
Angelo.
Okay. All right.
Michelangelo. Yeah. See, come on now.
All right, fine. Well, then, since we got that out of the way, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest here before he gets tired of our BS and leaves the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the illustrious, the accomplished, the magnificent Marvin Wynn from Second Sight Publishing. He is the creator of the Edge comic series that I really love. And I'm glad that we were able to get you in this week. And thanks for coming.
You also forgot the meteorologist we found out too.
Oh yeah. Also, he's an accomplished meteorologist.
I professionally measure the air every morning.
Thanks for coming, man.
Appreciate it. It's been a while. I mean, it took some time, but I mean, I'm here.
It's only like our fifth episode. I don't know what you wanted from us. It's been a while. Come on.
So episode 1, man. Episode 1. Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace.
I don't know if you want to be that episode.
Yeah, no, that's nobody wants to be Phantom Menace. Fun fact:
episode 5 is like Empire Strikes Back. That's one of the better ones. So,
fun fact about Marvin. I didn't know you were Black until almost a year ago. I
don't advertise or anything like that. So, it's not in my marketing packet to say that this guy's Black. And like, I don't put it at the end of like Marvin Wynn and instead of putting pronouns, I put Black.
Yeah. I had been talking to you online for probably, I want to say 2 years, man, like off and on. I think we were both at Short Fuse for a little while together at the same time. And I don't know what it was that I saw, but I was like, oh, this guy is Black. I didn't even know. Like, I was reading your books. I was, sharing your stuff, sharing your posts. And then just one day I realized, oh, Marvin's Black. Marvin's Black. I think it was when you put up that chibi figure that was, I think it was of you. And I was like, bruh, how did I not realize this all this time?
Well, the reason why is because Marvin is professional. He only posts about his book. Like if you look, he doesn't post anything else except for what's going on with his comic book, The Edge.
Legit.
I can understand why you didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, legit. I mean, I don't really get like into personal stuff on social media for obvious reasons, because I mean it's a minefield sometimes, and you start sharing stuff about your personal life and things and like that, and people start digging, and then we don't want people digging.
Yeah, and then they start finding stuff like the sex tape that I found.
Yeah, about my fifth career. That's my fifth job. I'm like the Jamaicans from Living Color.
I got
he's only got two jobs.
I got 7 jobs, man. That's terrible. See, now I know. Now I see. If we would have had this conversation before, I would have known way back then that you were black, because there's only black people know that.
Come on, now. Jim Carrey was on Living Color.
Jim Carrey's the GOAT, and I like that he always thanks the Wayans for his success.
Oh yeah, that's great, man. Man, he professes his on the whole love and loyalty to those guys for launching his career, and it's amazing. It's great.
Yeah, my all-time favorite comedy is to this day Liar Liar.
Yeah,
and it's every time I watch it, me and my daughters just watched it probably a couple of weeks ago, and they laughed through the whole movie still. Like a lot of that stuff is really inappropriate, but it's in good spirits when you see Jim Carrey do it. So let's get into this comic book stuff, man. I think I've read from The Edge, I want to say the first the Revenant trade, the volume 1. How many books do you have out total for The Edge?
So let's hit the Wayback Machine back to March of last year. So March of last year, we were getting ready to release issue 10. We were doing a release party at New Dimension Comics. It's the like the largest comic store in Pittsburgh. So we've got a chain of about 6 or 7 stores, and I think 5 of the 7 carry the book. So we were getting ready to do this release party. I had food at the release party. We had food, we had drinks, we had the media, we had podcasts coming. We had all this thing set up. I had 350 or so RSVPs coming. I had prints of all 1 to 10 books ready to get to the store, and then COVID. So I was hoping that everything would go off unhitched, and it didn't. So I got a call from the general manager of the store saying that we can't do the release party because of COVID. We can't have anyone in the store. They pretty much went to nobody in the store. They started doing mail order and a curbside. So I'm sitting there. I've got a brand new issue number 10, and there's no way I can move it. People were starting losing their jobs were closing down. They were losing their jobs. I figured nobody's going to be able to buy this book, and it would be kind of shady for me to even pitch it for being on sale with what's going on. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what's my next step? I don't know what's going to happen. Even though the Plan C thing popped up, it still wouldn't allow me to do a full release. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, this might be it. This might be it for The Edge. I might just quit, because I mean, who knows how long this COVID thing's going to last, and who knows what's intel for comics itself. Like we were in a position where it was almost doom and gloom. Diamond was shutting down. Marvel and DC were going pencils down, and you had no idea what the future was going to be. So I ended up talking to Spike Jarrell, who's the submissions editor at Second Sight, and he was telling me that we're going to move slow. We're going to go to Diamond, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to do direct releases and things like that. So I was like, that sounds like a good idea. I mean, let's see what happens with this. So I was sitting on a brand new version of issue 1 that we had did 2000, like near the end of 2019. We Mark and I said, let's redo issue 1, and we were going to release a brand new trade with issue 1 in it. So they were like, okay, we can relaunch with your brand new issue 1. No one's ever seen it, so it'll be a leg up. So we were originally launching in November when they got word that they got accepted into Diamond. So then fast forward to March. We were originally supposed to release the beginning of March, and then we got delayed to the middle of March, and then we got delayed to the end of March. So, you know, as me, as going back to that issue 10, I'm doing a lot of swearing. And people probably heard me when I went to the store and the book wasn't there, and I started swearing in the store. And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? What's going on? What's wrong with you?" Like, man, the book's not here. What are you talking about? So people probably heard me in other states swearing and things like that because it was so loud. But I mean, we launched on March 24th. The launch went really good. We sold out at Diamond in middle of April. So right now we're in reorder mode, and we're in to our third print. And we're also going to do a print specifically for only released through me and through conventions like we did with the triple cover, which blew up recently. And it's funny that it blew up right at, we had our first con since 2019, December 2019, last weekend, Three Rivers Con, that's hosted by New Dimension. Oh. And I was posting pictures, and because I've been doing a lot of marketing on YouTube with a bunch of YouTube guys, and things have started to expand so far that people started picking up that these things that they didn't notice it before, because I had talked about this back in November of last year, the triple covers. And now that they're mostly gone and they're only available in 3 places now, the other places are sold out. Everybody wants it now. And I'm like, sorry, we're not reprinting those. I mean, I've had these books since November, and only a few people asked about them. But now that everything is going and blowing up, and we're doing third prints, a fourth print, we're probably going to do another run with a different issue with a double cover. But we're not going to revisit this triple cover, and we're not doing a triple cover ever again.
No. I like that. I like the idea of it with having the 3 heroes, you know, on the 3 separate covers. It was visually appealing, and then, you know, you got your collectors who would, you know, always love to have stuff like that. So
right. Well, we wanted to try to make Mark and I decided we wanted to make it something special and not continuously keep pulling that cord again. So if we do another one, maybe we'll do it stacked instead of 3 going horizontally. Maybe we'll go diagonally.
Gotcha. Okay.
From top to bottom or something different. We don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again because it doesn't make it unique. And then it doesn't have that value to people where everyone's clamoring for it, and they're going to probably be fighting it. Like, I don't know if you've heard that Target no longer sells Pokemon or baseball, football cards because people have been fighting in the store. Maybe people start fighting in the store over the Edge. We'll see. And they have to record it though, because then it has to be like I'll make a TV show of it, like bum fights, where you can have people brawling in the store trying to get a copy of the Edge.
Hey, that'll be good. That's good marketing right there, though. Like, hey, man,
I like fights.
What's going on here? So let's go back and tell us about the comic. I know me and Kyrun have read it, but for any new listeners or anybody who's looking for a new comic, tell us what the Edge is exactly.
So the Edge is a drug that grants special abilities in a variety of ways. So someone could get the ability to duplicate themselves, or create energy shields, or fire energy from their hands or their orifices. Not saying the ass, but orifices of some kind. That but the more they use the power, the more it drains them of energy. And the next step is either you're going to become a husk, or you're going to explode, or you're going to die. So there's varying degrees of finality for this Edge, because it's not something that the body can use or contain. It's something that's overpowering them as they go. So our first issue introduces us to the character Revenant, who has this information and has the Edge in his body. So he decides he's going to go rogue with this information. He may not share it freely, or he may not share it because someone may pay him. But what could happen is someone could capture him, drain his blood, and then find the secrets out. So his former handler with the government, Tartable, forms a strike team to take him out. The one thing that we really want to do in this book is not tell you who the villain is or who the good guy is. We want you to decide that on your own. We're going to play in those gray areas where someone may do something heroic in one issue, but one may do something dastardly in the next issue, because you're fighting a battle that you can't win.
Now, your book, at least to me, has a very 90s feel, very Image Comics, specifically Wildcats, Cyberforce, things like that. Is it safe to say that those are huge influences on where the Edge came from?
Right. So those were the books when I was originally envisioning the Edge. Those are the books I was reading. The X-Men from the 90s, like I said, Wildcat, Stormwatch, things like that. G.I. Joe was a very powerful influence on that, and somewhat to the detriment of the book when I originally started writing it back in the 90s. I mean, I took a long break away from it for about 10 years before I even revisited it, when I felt like that I could actually write a story that benefited from my experiences and the things that I was seeing that didn't involve other books.
And with you saying that is a big influence, let me try to rephrase this. How much of the story, and specifically how many of the characters have changed since your initial thought of these books?
I would say a lot. I would think that and everyone will probably notice that Blaine is my grifter. And I thought that in the beginning of the book, it was way too close to what they were doing in that book. I pushed myself on those, like if you remember the book Team 7, where it was Grifter and it was Backlash and it was Lynch and all those guys, and they had that connection between each other, that thread. And I had that originally between Blaine and Revenant, where they had that serious connection from the past. And they still have that connection, but it's not rooted in their past. And people keep saying, I see there's something there between these guys. And I say that, yeah, it's something there, but it's not what it originally was. It's a connection where they may have passed each other in the hall one time and just sneered at each other and said, I'm going to kill that guy. And it's just that growing animosity over the years where we're like, yeah, I want that guy dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot to do with them being on a team before in the past.
I was when I was reading it, I was getting that vibe from them, kind of like a Captain America, Winter Soldier kind of vibe, or what's the My Hero Academia dude, Bakugo and Midoriya kind of vibe from them.
Yes.
And I was like, these two, I can tell, like they had, I want to say, 2 fights in that first volume where they came head to head. But I think my favorite character is Mystic. Mystic is my guy, and he seems like a pretty good guy. You know, he's kind of more the leader. You know, out in the field, he's out there barking orders at people. Hey, you do this, you do that, and you know, he seems like a straight up good guy. So hopefully, you don't turn him into a villain. You know,
well, I mean, it's not just the villain. It's that area you want to play in where you think about them as human beings, and a human being is going to do whatever they need to do to survive. And sometimes you have to do things that aren't very kosher, even to yourself, and things you don't want people to know that you did in your past to achieve the things that you had to achieve. So I won't say that he'll become a villain. We're going to test him, and we're going to put him on a block and tell him to stand there for an hour. Like in the movie with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, where they had to stand on that block
for life.
Yeah, life. You're one of those situations where you're like, all right, stand here, don't move, and we'll see how you deal with it.
You won't eat that cornbread.
You get my cornbread caught.
Now that you mentioned that Blaine is like Grifter from Team 7, now I'm like, is Reverend Deathblow?
Revenant could be. I like the one thing that we want to do with this book is not reveal an origin until it's necessary for the story. So we want to bounce that origin into the current storyline. Like if you remember from the beginning of issue 2, when we dive a little bit into Bolt, and his trauma and things happen to him in his past lead right into the situation that he's in the present. So
that's Rose, right? That was the Icy Rose, right?
Yes, Icy Rose ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I remember. I'm here with you.
So we're going to hold off on that, and we started working on a Revenant one shot, where we're going to dive into the mind of the madman and shine a little light on his past and the things that he went through as he was becoming active with the Edge. And we want to, like I said, we want to try not to describe these characters as good or bad because they're people. And people you can run that gamut of, you could have someone who could be a serial killer that's the nicest guy in the world to everyone else.
Yeah. I agree with you there. And I think that makes the characters, more relatable, and it makes for a better drama in the stories. I remember a few months ago, there was this movie that came out called Project Power, right? I don't know if you saw it, but it made me think of The Edge, because I was like, yo, this is exactly, I know us as indie creators, sometimes we'll have ideas and we'll be putting out stories, but we can't put out as many books a year as, a large studio would be able to, or a company like Netflix. So when you see something like that, does it validate you as a creator that your idea is a good idea and that you can see it going more places? Or are you more like, yo, they stole my idea, now I gotta retool it?
Gotta go beat up Jamie Foxx for stealing my idea,
I think in those situations it's better for you to stay your course, and I will point directly at Kevin Feige and the way he did the MCU, where you came out with your Iron Man and your Captain America and your Thor, and they didn't make billions of dollars then. And they decided, well, we're just going to stay our course and do what we think is right. And then you hit $1 billion over and over and over again, because you decided that this is our story and this is the story we're going to tell. And we're not going to let anything outside of it influence it or change it or make me feel like that I'm not doing the right thing because we're not racking up the box office. And you just say that this is my story and this is how I'm going to tell it. And whether if other things pop up or we feel like that someone aped our idea, I mean, like you said, that's validation that it's a good story. And that, I mean, there's only so many stories you can tell. What is it Disney said? It was like, there's 6 stories that you can tell.
Right.
And it's about the variations in those stories that are different. So while they may have something very similar to that, it's not going to go the same way that mine is going to go, because it's my idea and they can't pry open my brain and get at it.
Not yet. They can't do it yet, but they're working on the technology.
But to also answer that question, there was a movie called The Signal that was very similar to a novel I was writing that I had to scrap. So it happened. It was way too close. So I was like, yeah, no, okay, I'm done.
I've had it happen too, man. So don't feel bad.
It happens. I mean, like you said, the Disney has the cornerstone on the 6 ideas that you can write in a story, and sometimes they just follow that same path, man. It's weird like that.
I know Eric Larson has said that before, that almost all the original ideas that were all gone. It's your take of that, your variation of it, that makes it more unique than anything. But going back to your series, and I'm gonna mess up his name, so I'm not gonna say it, but Mark V, as he's shown, he's been the artist for the entire series. How much input do you give him, or is he allowed at this point with the book?
So we've gone to calling him Mark Louis now, because when we were doing credits for the new book, Mark V didn't resonate with things he's done in the past, so we had to kind of do a mashup of his name to get it where when you click on his name, all his credits come up and not just credits for the Edge. So he has 100 million% of my trust on anything he does.
Right.
So and like I say, that we are coming up on working on 18, 19 issues of the book, and there was only one change that I asked him to make, and that was Blaine's hair. And if you know, originally in the first issue, he had the shoulder length hair that I had to get rid of it. I did not like it. I hated the long hair on the character.
Go cut your hair, man.
So in the first issue, I was like, how do we get him off of that hair? So we just burn it off. And when in the issue 1, when the building explodes, we burn his hair off, and then he comes back with the anime point. And I'm like,
that's wild. I noticed his hair changed, but I didn't know that's why it happened. Like, I think it's cool that you wrote it into the story like that. That's dope.
we later in the issue we explain the anime point and how all the other characters look messed in their hair whenever they're in battle and everything, except for him. So we have to explain it. We can't just leave that hanging out. They're like, why is this guy's hair always on that point? it never gets must or anything while he's in these battles with the other guys, and everyone else does. So yeah,
that superhero.
We'll put that into the book. We'll put like at the end of one of the issues, like a end credit scene or something like that.
I love it. So, I wanted to ask, and first of all, I don't know why, but I was always thinking that it was Mark V. I wasn't thinking Mark V. I was thinking Mark V. I guess Iron Man is stuck in my brain because
his last name is just so many different letters. I just can't pronounce it.
It's Vukinkika is how you pronounce it.
I'm not gonna be able to say that, even if you say it like 15 times. I'm not gonna say that.
I keep trying to. I try to get him to come on these podcasts with me so he can sound it out for everyone. Yeah. But I mean, he doesn't want to do it. He says he's camera shy. So eventually, I'll talk him into it. And he'll get on here, and we'll make him say it like 10 times in a row.
Well, I mean, is he on right now? I mean, we can invite him. You can just do audio if you want.
Make it happen. We can make it happen.
No. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So he doesn't want to do the video or the audio. So I have to talk him to. I have to get him pumped up to do it.
No video, no audio. Does he want to do text to chat? I mean,
he said that if we do another one of these, like if you want to ask him some questions, if you want to email him questions, he'll answer the questions, and then I'll read them all.
Next time you guys are on, we'll have to make sure we get him on too.
Okay, yeah. It's a battle I've been fighting for 10 years, so almost 10 years. So yeah, we'll get to it.
Well, since you mentioned the 10-year, I mean, next year is the 10-year anniversary of the first printing of the Edge. Mm-hmm. Do you have any special plans to celebrate that? Because most indie creators can't even get to 2 years, but you're up there 10 years talking about you're on your 19th issue coming up or something like that. I mean, what do you have planned for that milestone?
We're going to do, so we originally were planning to do the source book for Three Rivers last year when it got canceled. So the source book is going to be our kind of celebration of just making it this far into this adventure and just hoping that we can go issue 100, issue 200, and just continue to have fun with the community and things like that. So we're going to where I'm trying my best to figure out a way how to get the source book to people for free. So what we'll probably do is send packs to stores and then tell the stores, hey, whoever is your loyal Edge customers, just hand it to them when they come into the store. We did this. We did a small print run of that and then dropped it off at it's Phantom of the Attic is one of the other stores here. And so we were able to do that then sometime in 2019, but we're going to try to do on a bigger scale this year. Maybe we'll look up with Buy Indie Comics Day or something. I think that's in August. So maybe we'll do that again too.
All right. Well, if you want to give some to Empire's Comics here in Sacramento, that's my favorite store. They do have your
Ben is the man. So we are hooked up with Ben.
Actually, I don't think if I had never met Ben, I don't think I'd be making comics because he gave me so much input. Because he actually makes comics. I don't know if you knew that, Marvin.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's actually been making comics for about 15 years now.
Yeah. So we're hoping to plan to get out to that area, California, next year to do some signings and hopefully some shows out there. So Empire Comics is on our list. So because I not only do I have to do a signing there, I have to get some hot sauce.
Yeah. Oh, his hot sauce. Okay, he literally does have a wall full of different hot sauces that when you walk in, it's right there, rows and rows. And I'd be like, "Are you black? Because that's way too much hot sauce."
It's got to be like on was it Undercover Brother?
Yeah,
he had the hot sauce squirting out of his wrist.
And you see him, he's like a 6'3", 6'5", something like that, just lanky white guy. And I'm like, all right, man, whatever. And he plays hip hop in this store. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna give you my black card because you're more black than I am at this point.
It's on the list. So I mean, next year I'm gonna make the runs because we've got like people were asking, like stores were like, hey, can you come out? Can you come out? Like, yeah, I mean, it's got to happen eventually. So yeah, I'll make my way out there. There's a lot of things I have to take care of because I can't fly long distance because my ears don't pop. So I have to talk to my doctor about what's going on with my ears because it would have to be 4 stops to go to California on a plane. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I would have jet lag for days. So
better take an Amtrak.
Yeah. Well, that's 4 or 5 days. So I looked it up. I was like, that's not going to work.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And the bus is 4 days. So I'm like, oh no.
That's a whole trip in itself. Just
Yeah. And then I mean, the worst thing is figuring out I need to wash.
Right. Where can I take a shower?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're around comic book people, so they're used to not washing sometimes. So.
I had to bring wet naps to wash it with in the bathroom in the Greyhound.
Hilarious. So I talked about who my favorite character was, but I'm curious to know. I would assume that your star character is Blaine. You know, I think he's probably the most prominent character. But who would you say, you know, from the Edge series resonates most with the people, or who's the most popular character?
I mean, I'm really ashamed to say this, but Revenant is becoming the most popular character.
I can see that. I can see that.
Everybody likes the bad guy.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing because, like, I'm going to like tear him off the page because of this, probably because I don't want people to like him. He's a jerk. Why you like him?
He is a jerk. But he's got a cool power to can duplicate. That's a cool power. And then he's, you know, he's straight up with people. So, you know, I think people probably resonate with that.
Yeah, people have told me that they have a new appreciation for Multiple Man because of Revenant.
I don't know why people don't like Multiple Man. That dude's got some skills. All right. Go back and read the X Factor where he's with Scott Lobdell. Scott knows how to write him.
Yeah. I think it's because he didn't get a lot of play in the main X-Men book. You had when they were on Muir Island and they had the Muir Island team, he got a little bit of play, but for the most part,
and then they left him there.
Yeah. And he was never part of the X-Men proper. So, and I think it's because most writers wouldn't know how to use him properly in that kind of setting where, all right, this guy is a one-man team. Do we need anyone else to go out?
Yeah, if you go back and read X Factor with Scott Lobdell and Peter David, their run, it's like a couple years worth of books, but they defined Multiple Man and Quicksilver and Strong Guy. Like they really were able to highlight those characters and not make them just stupid side C characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you gave him depth, you gave him personality, you gave him emotion, and you gave him trauma. So that's where we do with Revenant early on is that we give him trauma, and we don't say what it is, and we try to let it flow out how he was treated in the past when they found out what his abilities were and they wanted to take advantage of him, and you start to think that, man, maybe he was right to get away from them. But then when he's out in the field and he starts doing nefarious things, you're like, wait a minute, is this guy a good guy?
He is a bad guy, though.
I don't know. We don't know. It's question. There's a question mark over his head.
He's like Wreck-It Ralph. It's okay to be bad, but he's really not bad, you know?
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. Yeah.
That's hilarious. And that's where we want to go. And like I said, that I think for me, I really love the Trinity. So I say Mystic, Blaine, and Interim are my Trinity, and they're the ones that get a lot of the focus. But we give the characters a lot of their due. And if there's someone who's in the background, there's a reason they're in the background because we want them to bust out on their own after a while, as we explore their personality and not just say that they're just this power or they can do this skill. We want them to be fully fledged people that you can care about and concerned when something happens to them.
No, since you've been making comic books with the Edge for so long, I've noticed that you have moved from different publishing companies or publishing companies. Is there, like, you went from Shattered, I think you went to Short Fuse, you're now at Second Sight. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at a publishing company, is there anything that you're looking for specifically?
I'm looking for a way for us to grow. And I think that's why our road is so hobbled. And I'm hoping that we don't have to move anywhere else from Second Sight, because that's where that growth is at, where we can reach the entire world with the book. Being able to sell online is a blessing, but you're going to reach saturation with that because it's really hard to grow beyond your circle of people who are going to purchase your book. And the way that social media works is that it's all built around algorithms. It's all built around likes and looks and shares. So If you have a circle of 100 people who are continuously buying your book, that circle of 100 doesn't grow unless every one of them are sharing the book and their friends are sharing it, and then their friends are sharing it. So it's hard to grow using social media. So you've got to be on Facebook, you've got to be on Twitter, you've got to be on Instagram, and you've got to be sharing with a whole entire spectrum of people just to reach maybe 1,000. With being in Diamond, you're able to at least reach every comic store in existence. And then it's up to you to communicate to those stores that your book exists, and that when they're thumbing through Diamond, they don't skip past that page that your book is on. So what I ended up doing was I contacted over 1,000 stores with issue 1. That's phone calls and emails. And a bunch of them thanked me for contacting them, saying that, oh, yeah, I would have skipped right past it if you wouldn't have contacted me. So I went directly to that page to make sure that I wrote a check mark in there to make sure that we ordered that book. A lot of them said, oh, we already heard. People have already been asking us. And it just grows from there. And then this time for issue 2, I contacted 2,000 stores. So I'm just trying to reach every store in the world that is English speaking and some that aren't. So I think that's where it lies at, is that you have to be able to grow your circle. So from issue 1, you have to go to issue 2, and it has to grow. Everything has to, and it's a thing that we go do in the book is escalation. You have to escalate because you have to be able to reach people that don't even know that you exist. And you hear a lot, even at the cons, that people coming up to me and here in Pittsburgh, oh, I didn't know people were doing this in Pittsburgh. Like, well, that's kind of our fault that people don't know, because we're not able to fully engross those people who don't know about these things, that don't follow people who know these things.
That's called hustling, people. You got to hustle to get these books out there.
Yes.
If you don't put the work in, you don't put that legwork in, nobody's going to want to buy your book.
Yeah. Or they won't even know it exists, or someone could want it and not know that something even like this exists. They're like Marvel, DC, Marvel, DC, Marvel, DC, Marvel, DC all day long. They don't know that there's an Ace Blade, or
everybody knows about Ace Blade.
Because they don't run in those circles, and as creators, we have to be able to find a way and possibly do it without spending any money to capture the imagination of people who aren't on Facebook, aren't on Twitter, aren't on Instagram. How do you do that without being able to communicate to a store? Then if you have to go out and do real marketing, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to billboards or things you can do now. Yeah. Advertising in movie theaters. But what are your gains? You have to have gains on that kind of stuff before you sink thousands of dollars in it. If there's no guarantees, then you're just throwing money away.
Yeah, even with social media, like the ads that you can buy on social media, if you don't know how to do them, then you just sending another company some money. It's just throwing money in the trash.
Right.
So yeah, it's really a hustle. Like Kyrun said, you got to hustle, and that's why I think I'm glad cons are coming back, because that's one place you already know. If somebody's in this building, they care about comics at least. Yes, so if I can interact with these people, if I can interact with enough of them, then get them to buy the books. If they read them and they like them, then they'll tell their friends, and it'll continue to grow.
Right. Right. So that's what we end up getting in a lot of these shows, is people not on the first day, but the second day, where they bring their buddy over and say, "Hey, I was just talking to these guys yesterday." It was kind of fun and exciting that there was a guy that's been trying to track me down for 4 years at conventions. We always miss each other. Mm-hmm. And he finally got to meet me. And he's like, "Oh man, I've been trying to find you for 4 years. I really appreciate these books." And it was so much fun to meet this guy for the first time ever. And there's another guy out there we've been missing each other at cons, missing each other at comic stores when we go to comic stores and things like that. And eventually we'll meet, and it'll be a good time. And that's what I look for, that interaction and that engagement with someone who is just so excited to meet someone like me. I'm nobody, right? It's like, I'm not this big. I'm not McFarlane or any of these other guys. And it's just so fun to meet someone who just feels like I'm the greatest person in the world, and I'm just this guy, just doing this thing.
It's fun, man. I agree with you. I can't wait to meet Kyrun in person, even though I talk to him all the time. You know, he's one of my biggest heroes. Like, he doesn't know, but I look up to this guy, man.
Well, when you meet me, I have to probably look up to you because I'm pretty short.
Oh well.
But I mean, but that's what I'm looking for is getting the cons with you guys also, and meeting you guys that we talk to all the time, and we never get to see people in person.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, next year, I'm just running the gauntlet on whatever cons that I can get to and get invited to. That we're doing Terrific Con, we're doing New York again, we're doing stores in Ohio. I'm hoping to get down to Florida this year. Next year, I'm trying to get to Utah and California and Chicago and Baltimore and just do as many shows as I can, because there's still people out there that don't know the book exists. So like,
Right.
I gotta get in these other people's heads and things like that. They're like, oh, I didn't know this book exists. Like, you do now.
You do now. Go on and buy it and read it.
When you make your way to California and you do the Empire's Comics Ball, I'll be the first one in line because I want to meet you. You and I have talked a lot over the years through social media, so this will be a great opportunity for me to finally meet you when that does happen, and I'm excited for that. What we're going to do right now, though, is we're going to do Danny's Quick Take, where Danny's going to go through a series of questions that are not necessarily related to your comic, but they're related more to you and things that you might like. We're going to do it sort of game show style, so you're going to hear a time clock, and you're going to have 45 seconds to answer whatever question Danny throws at you, and they're going to be weird, I'm pretty sure.
They are going to be weird. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So some of these are related to your comics because, like you said, you don't put a lot of stuff online, but I dug deep for some of these, and I think you'll enjoy them. Okay. So the first one is, I've seen that you have the Mystic, minifigure.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans for your upcoming figures, and how many have you done in the past?
So the Mystic one was the first one, and we were planning on doing a line of those statues, and then the company that made them decided they only want to do licensed figures. But I had a very good conversation yesterday with a action figure manufacturer, and we are getting ready to go into production on action figures.
Awesome. All right. Quick take number 2. This is a one gotta go. I know you're a gamer. I can see your game system back there in the background. Yeah. So I know you play games, but here's some old school games, and you tell me which one's got to go and why. Okay?
Yeah.
Contra, Double Dragon, The Simpsons, or Metal Slug?
I'm probably going to lose The Simpsons on that one. I played that, or if we're talking about the arcade game, I hated that game in the arcades because of Homer's inability to have reach when he was fighting, because he uses his fists, and Marge being the best character because she could have reach with her vacuum cleaner. And since you brought up Contra, here's a fun fact. I actually almost pitched a Contra comic book to Konami back in 2010-ish, and it dried up because it was the most difficult, hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Contra was clutch back in the day. It's still a good game, man.
Yeah.
It's still a good game. My son played it recently, and he's like, "Yo, the mechanics still work, and it's still fun to play."
So okay. you were talking about songs without lyrics. That music is some of the greatest theme music ever, and there's no lyrics to it.
True, absolutely. All right,
quick take number 3. Song without lyrics. You remember that? Yeah, songs without lyrics.
I mean, the poll was pretty clear, though. The poll was pretty clear. All right, number 3. I didn't like Red Dead Redemption because it was too slow for me. Did you finish Red Dead Redemption, or did you quit like I did?
The first one or the second one?
The first one.
I love Red Dead Redemption because it boiled the story down differently than Grand Theft Auto did. I thought Grand Theft Auto was the ultimate ridiculous simulator, because even now, so not only am I a criminal mastermind, I now have a submarine, I have flying cars, I own a doomsday device, and things just got out of hand with that. Red Dead Redemption kept it subtle, and it made it so much fun in that vein that it's still that subtle game that Grand Theft Auto will never be.
Awesome. Okay. Quick take number 4. How are those dollar store steaks?
They're terrible. So it's not steak; it's hamburger. It's a hamburger. It's hamburger formed into steak. It's not a cut of meat. It's not a cut of meat at all. It's burger. It is. It's burger.
Are we sure it comes from a cow?
Well, I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was hamburger. I said it was burger.
Man,
it's like that scene in Demolition Man. You see any cows around here?
Exactly right. This not made out of cow. I was like, if they selling a steak at dollar store, it can't be something. It's got to be something else.
Way back in the day when I posted that. Wow. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I can't say it's steak. I bought it just to see what it was, and it's awful. It's gristle. I'll say. Well,
at least it didn't kill you, because I wouldn't have trusted.
No, it made me stronger, man.
I've eaten food all over the world. I've been to Iraq and Germany and South America, and I've eaten some of everything, but I wouldn't eat a dollar store steak. All right. So last but not least, I want you to look at this symbol, if you can see it.
Yes.
I want you to describe it to people and tell us exactly what it is.
So that is, it was originally called the symbol of the seven, and we are still trying to come up with a new name of it because of the seven from The Voice. So we can't call the thing the seven anymore. So it symbolizes something landing on something else. And it's something that is really going to be prevalent throughout the series. You see it appears on Mystic Swords in the first issue when the terrorist rips open his shirt. He has it tattooed on his chest. It's going to appear in various locations. And this is to say that is not the only symbol that is going to be appearing in the book. So we're all about symbols and meanings of those things and how they connect and how they disconnect. Ooh, man, I got the buzz on that one.
That was the only one, too. Every other one, he was like good with time. That was the only one you got buzzed on.
There's a lot going on with those symbols, man. There's a lot going on.
That's awesome. You know, I'm all about my spoilers, so I had to get that. I had to ask.
Well, that was Danny's Quick Takes, brought to you by Dollar Tree Beef.
It's not confirm or deny that it's beef. It could be chicken.
Dollar Tree mystery meat. All right.
Mystery meat.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
And now we go right back to the show.
I don't know. You guys should go buy one and just check it out.
No, I'm not.
And then you'll have to figure out why it's rubbery.
See, I'm not going to try that. My wife and my kid actually has very bad stomachs, like very weak stomachs, so they can't handle anything weird. I don't need my toilets blown up any more than they already are. So I'm all right.
That's that power that he was talking about earlier. That orifices, those fiery orifices.
Comes out, huh?
That's how it comes out. That's the edge. Maybe that's the edge. Maybe that's
where the edge comes from.
You get the edge from those dollar store packets.
See, all right. See, listeners, we got you behind the scenes information there. The edge comes from Dollar Tree Mystery Meat. Go buy it now.
Go buy it now. See what your power is.
It's a package with a question mark on it. It says it could be beef, and then a guy going like this.
Oh, that's terrible, man. All right. Before we get out of here, I know Kyrun wants to do the closing statements and everything, but I do have a question because a little birdie told me, and by a little birdie, I mean you told us before we started recording, that you have a series coming up called From Script to Store. Would you tell the people about that, please?
So this is going to be I want to say it's going to be a documentary where I'm going to go from writing a comic script and then having that book appear in the store. And we're going to go deep dive into the trials and tribulations, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making a single issue of a comic book. And just showing that I don't have a magic wand and that not everything goes as planned. And I mean, it's going to be something that's going to be very honest between myself, Mark, Luis does the colors, and James does the letters on the things that not only that goes into the book, but the back and forth between us as we produce the book, and how sometimes we don't all agree on how things should go.
Now, is this going to be like a YouTube series, audio series? How's this going to be? This
is going to be both on the newsletter that I just started from Substack, and it's going to be on YouTube.
So you can get Mark on there on YouTube, but not on with us, huh?
He is not going to appear on the show, but I want to show some of the emails that go back.
I do have a couple more questions before we let you go, if you have the time.
Sure.
All right. So with you being with Second Sight now, how much are you involved in their day-to-day things? Or is it just you're writing your book and you're focused on just that?
I am a creator with Second Sight at the moment, I'll say.
At the moment.
There's always those opportunities for things to expand in those areas, but no, I'm not involved in the day-to-day. I am strictly a creator at the moment.
Okay. And I know you are like deep diving into the edge and you're focused on the edge, but have you ever thought about doing other stories besides that?
We are actually working on a sad story that involves a character. It's our Superman archetype. His name is Sigma. The problem is that he's been fighting supervillains for 20 years and he no longer can do it anymore. So he has PTSD. So when he hears sirens or something, he starts to shake and he shuts down. So we're going to go into the mindset of what happens when a hero can't be a hero anymore.
What kind of research are you doing?
I'm also working on a horror book about werewolves.
For the Sigma series, what kind of research are you doing with that? Like, are you doing interviews with anybody that has PTSD, or what are you doing on that?
Yes, so I'm talking with a few people. I'm going to be talking to people from the military, some people, psychologists and things like that, to get that baseline of what happens when a person retreats from life. Because that's pretty much what when you're dealing with PTSD or any kind of trauma or depression or things like that, where you can no longer be part of the world because your mind won't allow it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to take something different away from someone who's been punching something for 20 years and it just becomes too much for them. It's like, I can't continue to do this harm that I'm doing. And this guy who has blood on his hands that he can't wash off. And there could be a situation where his presence causes more harm than good.
And I think that most superheroes probably would go through that after a while. I mean, years and years of fighting and not really seeing change.
Yes.
At least the change that you would hope for.
Right.
I'm pretty sure most superheroes would at least come through and have some type of PTSD after a while.
And that's where we would draw it from those Superman mythos, where it was always said that Superman was that beacon of light to the world, and he was here to help us to become more like him. And we can't achieve it. It's not going to happen. So how does that character deal with that situation where I've come here to save you and help you, and I'm doing all these things for you, and you still want to be the people that you are?
Well, I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah.
All right. I got one more question, then we'll let you go because I know you're a man of little time. So, besides your series, what other book that's non-Marvel or DC are you into right now? And why is it Ace Blade?
Well, I mean, it's both. It's Ace Blade. It's your book. I'm into like most of the indie books that I support and buy, and the guys that people are that I'm friends with on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'm into all those and all the indie books, like Father Like Daughter, American Dream, and the books like that. So I mean, I am really happy that you guys are out here doing your thing, and like I said, that in the background, in the indie network world, I'm doing my best to get your guys' books in the hands of other people. So I sent Pax a book off to my buddy Rod the Rican. He does a YouTube where he does community shout outs and things like that. And have him send these books out to his community, or I'm going to, when I go to stores, I talk about, hey, you guys got to check out this book. I know it's not in diamond, but man, make sure that you get your hands on it. So I mean, I'm trying to be a man of many talents and making sure that not only that I'm promoting my own book, but making sure that you guys' books and other people's books are getting into people's hands so they know they exist, because I understand that Facebook algorithm is not going to do the things that we wanted to do.
We appreciate that. I had a great question in my head and then I just lost it. But thankfully, we had.
This is why you write things down.
Last episode. That's exactly why. Because I got it. I was just thinking when you said that. I get a lot of indie comic books into. In last episode, we were talking about how I don't get a chance to read as many comics.
Yes.
But Kyrun put me onto some information. He said, "Hey, just take them to the toilet with you when you sit down on the toilet, read a comic book." And then when you said that, it reminded me we should rename the show to Reading Comics on the Toilet or something like that. I don't know, but it has helped me be able to actually sit down and do two things at once. Yeah. So
do like a weekly thing, like what comic did you read on the toilet?
So
I am 4 to 5 years behind on reading. So yeah, I don't get that chance to read. And like you said, that sometimes when I take my little breaks, that I will take a book in there with me if I don't take my phone. So it's either the phone or some books.
I'm not the only one that does it. I'm not the only one.
All right, we're gonna make this thing go. Now listen, we're gonna make this thing happen. Reading books on the comic is the reading comics. Reading comics.
Then you have to have like an image of a toilet come up with the toilet paper roll and then a flushing sound. and then when you come back live, then you're holding the book that you were reading.
I love it.
All right, that's all Danny there. He's got a.
But you remember there was that episode of Seinfeld when they put that sticker on the book that says it was in the toilet. So now you can't give that book away.
That's true. That's true. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
This has been fun, Marvin. I mean, we're always glad to have creators on with us, and taking the time out the day to talk to us, because we're nobodies. Well, Danny's somebody on TikTok, but I'm a nobody. So
we're all trying to do the same thing here, man.
I guess that's the next thing I need to conquer is the world of TikTok. I guess that's my next.
Danny's going to come out with a podcast along with this one and his short stories one about how to reach audiences on TikTok.
Oh, awesome.
But it's only going to be videos on TikTok. It's going to be like a Q&A thing that he does on TikTok. So you got to follow him.
You got to go to TikTok. That's the key.
You got to go on TikTok to find out how to be on TikTok.
You got to follow me on TikTok to figure out how to get followers on TikTok. I
actually have to install the app. I don't even think I have that installed on my phone. Let me see.
You're probably one of the only people in America who doesn't have TikTok right now.
I mean, I'm trying to expand my social media stuff, but I'm doing the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Instagram. I don't know if I can do another one.
Yeah, I had to back up on Twitter. Yeah. I'm trying to get better on Twitter, but I usually just do Facebook and TikTok now, and then Instagram whenever we got photos of stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to be doing YouTube, doing a newsletter. And then I'll be on TikTok and whatever other thing that comes out next, because there's going to be something else. So
yeah,
I got to budget my time though.
Absolutely,
budget in. Like I got to do 30 minutes of TikTok, an hour of Facebook, something like that. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and it is helpful. I mean, one good thing is that you can reuse a lot of stuff. Like TikToks are really short and compact, so you can put them on your Instagram or you can put them on your Facebook. And then if you're more tech stuff, like when you do your newsletter, that might be better for Twitter or for a blog post or something like that. So it's good to be able to use stuff for multiple purposes.
Expansion and escalation, that's what it's always going to be about.
Absolutely. Well, next time we have you on, we'll try to talk some of the short fuse stuff, because I think we were there for a little while at the same time before you moved on, and then recently short fuse shut down. So we'll talk about.
I think if you when you start recording, let's talk about that for a minute.
Absolutely. Well, it was nice having you over, man. We glad to finally talk to you, voice to voice, face to face, and can't wait to have you back. Can you tell people where to find you?
So on Facebook, I am at The Edge. On Instagram, I am at The Edge Comic. On Twitter, I am at Marvin Wynn. So just to like on there, and I am usually all over YouTube with the Jamora Cinema and Rob the Rican.
I think YouTube is the only place. I didn't know that you had a YouTube series, so that's I'll be following you very shortly. Kyrun, where can people find you?
You can find me at tauruscomics.com. On YouTube, it's also Taurus Comics, which I only post like a couple of videos there of me not really drawing. But on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Taurus Comics, and then Facebook.com/Taurus Comics.
And Twitch. Twitch is hopping right now.
Which is, I Kyrun 49, but I only got a couple thousand followers there, so nothing too
only
big.
a couple thousand. That's okay.
A lot, man.
I got like four. I got like four followers on Twitter.
Oh, what? All right, Danny, where can we find you at?
I'm at the Ace Blade on Instagram, Twitter, and the TikTok, and the website fourthwallpros.com.
And everybody, well, thank you again, Marvin, for being a part of our show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And thank you, everybody, for listening to this podcast. We really appreciate all your support. Please, if you haven't already, please go on to whatever platform you're listening to this on, like, share, give us a review. All those reviews help so much immensely, especially with Apple and their iTunes store. Every review, especially the good ones, help our podcast get out to more listeners. So thank you again. And as always, you can check us out. Go back and listen to old episodes at fourtalespodcast.com. That's the number 4, TALES podcast.com. And hope you guys have a great day. Sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourself.
Have a good day.
Music provided by Quick Made It. That's QUIXKMADEIT. Find them on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
What it is Quick is trying to say.